So if you remember our last video, you may be able to point out that this doesn't look very good. Well, today I'm going to teach you how to make your house look really, really cool and really aesthetically pleasing.
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let 'em burn it out.
So I'm sure all of you noticed the difference between this and this. This has more variation than the stone, while this is just pure cobblestone. While acceptable, it is not very pretty to just have pure cobblestone. What we did is we actually took multiple different types of stone, andesite, and normal stone and cobblestone, and put them all together with polished andesite as well. And we also did a little bit of mix and match with how the stairs rotated and stuff. What that means is that everything has a little bit more depth added to it. Now we can actually take this one step further and go into here and add stairs and stuff all up inside of here. That tiny bit more depth. You look at it, you're like, oh, that looks really cool. It has some nice depth to it. It looks like it's worn down a little bit. Cool. Now you might also be able to see that we have trap doors on these ends. What that does is it pushes out the block ever so slightly and gives it a slightly different texture, which adds depth and a more interesting look to the actual build. Just think of it this way. You have trapdoors along here. They can act as shutters for the windows. That's why you only put them around the windows. So like here, you don't need one, right? Which adds a little bit of asymmetry to the build, which allows you to make it look a little bit prettier. Makes it more interesting overall. Here, it's not going to work quite as well because we have these guys. So what I'm going to do is fix our build a little bit. What this also does is it forces us to see the opposing dimensions here, the opposing levels that can go along here. Asymmetrical stuff. There's also going to be symmetrical on this side, so it works out in the end. Now I have shutters all along here on both sides of this because we have this wall right here that differentiates this and this. Also, we need to fix this like that. Need a shutter here. And just like that, we've already added a whole new level of detail to the house. So I'm going to go ahead and do this all the way across the roof. And just like that, our roof is fully modified. So it looks a whole lot more pleasing to the eye. And it basically just catches your attention a whole lot more. So as I said before, with these little details, you can actually add a whole lot of, I guess, detail to your builds. The overall just looks so much better than if it was just normal stuff going on, right? So as you can probably tell of what I'm doing here, I'm actually going around and filling in each one of these spots with different types of stone. So it forces it to have a different type of stone everywhere it goes, and basically forces interest into your brain. I try to keep away from a pattern as much as possible. So I think I'll have that as cobblestone there, just so it doesn't stick to a pattern. And here we go. There is the finished trim and roof of the house. So now what we can do is we can go along to the dock. Now what I like to do is I like to grab planks and strip logs to add different variations to the dock. See how this follows a pattern? I'm going to break that block and break that block, and it messes with the pattern a little bit. Now I'm going to include some spruce planks. Since we didn't actually include spruce planks anywhere else in the build, I'm going to include them under the floor, at least for the dock. The inside, I'll probably keep it normal, because what happens is the spruce planks just look like a more saturated version of the oak planks. So it's almost like water is getting into them and forcing them to become wet. Now, a good way to add interest into your build is to basically just go around and find any spots that just look kind of dull, like this spot right here, right? It looks pretty dull, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find something that'll fill in that area, make it a lot more interesting. So what I like to do is I like to take logs, any logs. So since there's birch all around me, I'm going to take birch logs. I'm just going to place them like this, make it look like I'm storing logs for the winter. And this makes it so that birch logs actually have a use. So it makes it look like, oh, you're putting logs there so that you can come outside in the wintertime, grab them, and go back in. Super simple and keeping them under a roof to try and keep them as dry as possible. Now over here, kind of dull. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some flowers, or if you don't have any flowers, you can actually just grab bone meal, and that'll work just as well. So I like to do is put tall grass a little bit, and just I like to add color to the entire building, just a little bit of flowers everywhere. Now essentially what I'm doing right now is I am going around bone mealing a bunch of this grass, and it gives us tall grass in return, which in return makes everything just a lot more aesthetically pleasing compared to if it was short grass or just there's normal grass. So now, as you may see, we have a little bit of a conundrum here. We don't really have a path out. That's another way to add a little bit of detail into your build, to actually make a path. So, grab a shovel. Now we have a path into the build, just like that. And what you want is the most used areas to have the most path blocks, while the least used areas get the least path blocks. So guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I know this is a bit of a short one, but I plan to make a lighting video as well as a just terraforming video further down the line. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and like the video down below. And please comment down below what the most useful topic of discussion was today. Thank you. I'm Zarin. Peace.
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the